to talk a little bit about something that people don't really consider, um, but we'll just get into it, and you can see what you think. I'm going to give you what my conclusion is, but you can see what you think. John 3:16, everybody knows that verse. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. That verse. That word for world is the Greek word cosmos. And it is defined as an orderly arrangement in as big a form as it needs, as it can be, or as small a form. So it's a pretty broad word. Okay, so that's John chapter 3. Well, let's listen to 1 John, same author, different time, but he says in 1 John 2:15 and 16, he says, love not the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And each time in those scriptures, the word that's translated world is cosmos. Okay? Just like in John 3:16. Well, clearly we have to do there has to be some understanding by us to see those two things. Because on the one hand, God loved the world so much that he gave his Son. And in the other says, don't love the world. There's nothing in the world that is worth loving. For everything in the world is, as I mentioned, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. So I'm going to, here is what I would read it to you as. John 3:16, for God so loved mankind that he gave his only begotten Son. Defining, bringing the word world, cosmos, the orderly arrangement, down to mankind. And here's how I would read 1 John 2:15 and 16. Love not the system. If any man loves the system, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the system, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the system. Okay? And as I've mentioned to you before several times, Satan's deception is systematized. And as you've seen, if you've followed anything at all in the truther world, you can see that the system is set up against us in every way. Okay? From the political system, the education system, the financial system, the health system, all of them, they're aligned against us. Much as they would be if they were Satan's. And you know, Jesus said that his kingdom was not of this world, and that the king of this world is Satan. So when you look at those things, you see, well, it does make sense that they would be aligned against us because we have an adversary. Now, I'm going to show you something that I can guarantee you, unless you've spoken to me, you don't know this. You've never heard this. And you won't ever hear it. You can go to a million sermons and not hear this. Okay? We're going to go to Genesis chapter 3. This is where Eve gets tempted by the serpent. Okay, he goes through his temptation, and it says, and she saw. In fact, I'm going to read it so I don't mess something up. Okay, let's just go to Genesis 3 and read it. And this is after he has said, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And I've already spoken to you about that. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And we're going to break this down. Okay, what does it say in 1 John? Love not the world, etc. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, lust of the flesh. 1 John. All that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. We'll get to the eyes right here, secondly. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes. Okay, so we've got the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and now let's see what the pride of life is. And a tree to be desired to make one wise. Okay, so this is Eve in the garden. She's got the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. She's got them all. And let's see the order of what happens here. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat. Okay, are you seeing what I'm trying to show you? She had everything listed in 1 John 2:15 and 16 before she touched it and before she ate it. Ponder that. How? How is that possible? She had the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life before she ate, before she even touched it. How is that possible? How is that possible? I have my own thoughts about that, but I'm not going to share them right here because I want you to think about that. Because there's an idea that, well, when she ate, she got all these bad things. She had them all before she ate. Okay? I love you all.